They teach you algebra, but not how to do your taxes. They make you memorize the mitochondria, but never explain what a credit score is. You spend years in school, but still leave clueless about how money actually works. You think that's an accident? It's not. The system was never designed to make you rich. It was built to keep you obedient. Let's be real. Schools were created during the Industrial Revolution to produce factory workers. Not thinkers, not investors, workers. Quiet, compliant, replaceable. That's why the bell rings like in a factory. That's why you sit in rows, raise your hand to speak, and get rewarded for memorizing instead of questioning. The entire structure trains you to follow orders, not to challenge them, and certainly not to escape them. They teach obedience, not intelligence. Memorization, not innovation. You're told what to think, not how to think. And while you're stuck studying for multiple choice tests that measure nothing but your ability to cram and repeat, the wealthy are teaching their kids how to own assets, leverage credit, minimize taxes, and scale businesses. Why? Because knowledge is power, and they don't want you to have it. The truth is, the school system is designed to prepare you for dependency, not freedom. You're taught to be a worker, not a creator, a borrower, not a lender, a consumer, not an owner. It's no coincidence that financial education is missing from your curriculum. They don't want you to understand how interest works, or how to invest, or how to build something that pays you while you sleep. Because the second you understand that, you become a threat to the system. You leave school knowing the Pythagorean theorem, but not how to file a tax return. You can analyze a poem, but have no idea how to manage your money. And it's not because the system forgot, it's because they don't want you to know. If you knew how to build wealth, you wouldn't need to work 40 hours a week just to survive. If you understood how to make money work for you, you wouldn't be a slave to a paycheck. But the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended. It keeps you busy, broke, and distracted, just intelligent enough to run the machines, but not enough to question why you're operating them in the first place. Think about this. Who benefits from your ignorance? Banks profit when you rack up debt you don't understand. Employers win when you're too scared to leave your job. Governments thrive when you're dependent on their systems. They all need you to stay in the dark. That's why school doesn't teach wealth. It teaches wage slavery. It teaches competition over collaboration, scarcity over abundance, conformity over creativity. It punishes mistakes instead of encouraging experimentation. Even though trial and error is how every successful entrepreneur learns, you're trained to fear failure, yet failure is the foundation of progress. You're told to stay safe, play by the rules, follow the path, get a degree, find a job, save money, retire at 65. But that path was built for a world that no longer exists. Meanwhile, the rich are playing by an entirely different set of rules. They understand how to use debt to acquire income-producing assets. They use corporations to lower their tax burdens. They invest in things that grow in value while you invest in liabilities that drain your bank account. The rich aren't smarter than you, they're just better informed. They've had access to the kind of knowledge you were deliberately kept away from. The sooner you can start unlearning everything they taught you. Because real education doesn't happen in a classroom. It happens when you start asking uncomfortable questions. It happens when you realize that your time is your most valuable asset, and trading it for money is the worst deal ever invented. You weren't born to be a cog in someone else's machine. You were born to build your own. And that starts by rejecting the narrative you were fed your whole life. Stop waiting for permission to think for yourself. Stop assuming the system has your best interest in mind. It doesn't. If it did, you'd know how to build wealth before you graduate. You'd understand how taxes, credit, debt, and investing actually work. But instead, you leave school financially illiterate, forced into a system that profits off your confusion. And that's the whole point. The less you know, the easier you are to control. So here's the truth they'll never teach you. You don't get rich by working more hours. You get rich by owning systems. You don't build wealth by saving every penny. You build it by investing in the right assets. You don't escape the rat race by climbing the corporate ladder. You escape by building your own. And none of that requires a degree. What it requires is a mindset shift, a willingness to question, a refusal to settle. It requires you to admit that maybe, just maybe, everything you were taught about success was designed to keep you chasing it forever.